Welcome to the Professional Women's Wellness Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Peggy Gleason, creator of the Mindful Eating Approach, where I help professional women and business owners with a tailored path to weight loss and self-confidence without the stress of restrictive diets, time-consuming exercise regimes, or medications. I help you transform your eating habits to enhance all areas of your wellness, and we always offer inspiration, motivation, and education with amazing gifts. And today I'm very excited because I have a nurse practitioner coming on, and she's brilliant. Today I'm honored to introduce my next guest, Mary Welch. Now, Mary is a mother, a wife, a double board certified oncology nurse practitioner, and a no BS certified weight loss coach. She's a community educator and a passionate advocate of eating and thinking smarter. I love this. We need it so bad, don't we? Mary is convinced that a healthy life is within reach. We all need to know that. We can't just give up. And she's spreading the message that the fastest way to change your health is to change what's on your fork. Duh. Right? We'll all agree with that. Oh, for sure. What a wonderful thing. And her success is amazing. After losing 80 pounds and witnessing the consequences of lifestyle diseases like diabetes, cancer, and dementia, Mary found weight loss to wellness to empower. She founded Weight Loss to Wellness to empower others to get started on their health journey. Now, she especially enjoys, and this is very near and dear to my heart, she especially enjoys guiding cancer survivors along the path to better health with one-to-one and group coaching. So, Mary, I know you deal with so many different things, but what really stood out to me when I read your bio was the connection to how lifestyle choices are connected to cancer risk and, of course, obesity. So I would love for you to, elaborate on that. But what I'm going to ask you first is, how did you get into this? You've been a nurse. You've been an oncology nurse, a nurse practitioner, for goodness sakes. You have everything.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me, first of all. And yeah, life leads you where you are to go. I truly believe that. And honestly, I was in the struggle myself. So I think when you're in that struggle or mess and you get out of it, then your message is to help others. So back in 2016, 2018, I had put on a bunch of weight. Being a yo-yo dieter most of my life, it was very frustrating because I felt like I was smart, I was professional, I was educated, I knew all about health, yet here I was dealing with weight. And as my mom was dealing with dementia, I didn't realize it, but I was stuffing my emotions with food. And by the time she passed away, I was like stage 2 obesity. My BMI was 37 or 38. I couldn't button my lab coat around my hips. I felt like such a hypocrite telling patients to get healthy, and they're looking at me like, well, what about you? And I had a young child. I'm an older mother. So I had turned 50 and thought I would lose weight, and I hadn't. And, I was very much, I would say, in despair. I didn't realize it. I was reading books and getting knowledge. And one of the books I read was a book about intermittent fasting. And that was a new concept to me. And I thought, wow, it sounds easy. And they started talking about insulin and other things. And like, well, maybe something like this would work. And then I started reading a little more about inflammation. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And so I was packing stuff away. And then I ended up going to a medical education conference for oncology nurses. And one of the speakers, Ann Katz, had a book called Obesity and Cancer. And she was the first speaker. And I sat in that audience and I'm like, well, I wonder what she has to say about this. And I'm a little embarrassed to say, although I have worked in oncology my entire career, I didn't realize what a huge impact extra weight had on cancer growth. So I'm sitting there, and my population at the time is GYN oncology, and especially uterine endometrial cancer. And
Wow.
she said, well, depending on your weight, it could be quadruple to 7 times the risk of the normal population for developing cancer. And I was like, wow. And I am one of those people, I never smoked cigarettes because I didn't want lung cancer. And
Hmm.
suddenly I was like, I need to do something about this weight. I don't know what it is because I've lost weight and gained it back, but I left there really determined to figure out how to lose weight for the last time, really, without any gimmicks. And again, the right person came into my path. So I left there and ended up meeting a nurse practitioner who helped me. And she did a 5-day challenge. I remember thinking it was so simple. It was like, okay, drink water. And I'm like, okay, I can drink water. And then it's like, um, make a healthy meal and add some vegetables and actually cook it. Get a recipe, go to the store, get the stuff, move your body. I think it was, just look for hidden sugars and things. And it was amazing. When I started looking at labels, I was like, wow, salad dressing had sugar in it, sauces had sugar in it. And at the end, there was an opportunity to get on the phone, and I hired her, and she was talking about gut health. And I didn't know much about that either. And once she talked to me, it was not only the food, but everything. I think as a busy professional where you're managing a career and a family, she knew right away that I barely made my list. I was caring for my patients, caring for my son, caring for my husband and my pets. And she said, where are you on your list? And I was way down at the bottom. And she said, that gets to change today. And a lot of it was very simple. She thought, what do you do? Do you bring a lunch to work? And I'm like, well, no, I hope I get to the dining room to pick up something, but often that doesn't happen. And I don't know if you've ever been in the medical office or the infusion center where I work, but grateful patients are always bringing in donuts and bagels, or someone's having a birthday or a potluck. But unfortunately, most of these things are not healthy, and that's what I would be eating. So going for the pizza or the bagel or the donut, and nothing with nutrients. So she's all like, guess what? You get to start bringing your food. And it was more food than I ate usually, but it was protein rich food, nutrient dense food, lots of healthy vegetables. And as I got off all the processed food and sugar, my energy soared. The pounds really melted off easily, and I felt better and better. And I thought, wow, who knew that just simply changing your attitude and your approach, and it wasn't like super low calorie. She's all, no, you can have fat. I'm like, really? She's all, put the avocado on it. I'm like, but it's full of calories. It doesn't matter. They're good calories. And like retraining
Exactly.
your brain. It's
Yeah, it's
interesting.
interesting because the proverbial eat and go diet that most health professionals are on, where they run to the cafeteria or the station at a room that's your break room, look for whatever's there, shove it in your throat, and go back. So it's like eat and go, and grab and go rather. And it's just a terrible situation for the healthcare professionals, especially because they feel they can't leave their patients, right? But to think that you were introduced to something that really worked beautifully with you. So, what I'm really curious about is because you have such a vast experience with oncology patients, patients with cancer, um, where talk a little bit about that. Now, I know from what I know, sugar feeds the cancer cells, right? So, talk to us about that.
Yeah, so there's some controversy around that because some people will stop eating anything with sugar, including fruit and berries. And those
Oh,
are really good because they're loaded with fiber and nutrients and all kinds of phytonutrients in that. It's more the added sugar in processed food, and it is in an unnatural state, separated from fiber that just spikes your blood sugar up to a very high level. So we're talking about the people that get those sugary coffees and you're starting your day with double pumps of caramel and sugar, and you've had 600 calories of carbohydrate sugar without any nutrients, and your insulin level goes way up, and that just creates a bunch of inflammation in your body. That um, Sodas are in the same category. They're finding even diet sodas can give your brain that sense that something sweet is coming. And I was a Diet Coke person for a long time, and in my mind I'm like, oh well, there's no calories, how could they be bad for you? Well, your brain's getting that signal that something sweet is coming. And when there's no calories attached to it, it makes you crave other things. So then you're going for the Snicker bar or the donut or these very easy processed carbs that cause inflammation, that don't have fiber, that really can fuel your body. And part of the issue with the sugar is that it leads to fat. And I
Hmm.
think ultimately it's the fat that can lead to cancer growth, because when you have extra fat, especially in women, that's a place where you have extra estrogen. And the fat isn't just hanging there being a muffin top, it's an endocrine organ. So you start getting more estrogen floating through, stimulating things like uterine cancer, breast
Hmm.
cancer. And it starts with sugar, though. If you eat more sugar than your body can store in the muscles, or in
Yes.
the liver, it
Oh my
converts that
goodness.
sugar to fat, and people don't know that. So it's not the sugar, it's more that the sugar becomes fat, and the fat creates hormones that drive the cancer.
So interesting. Wow. And are there certain types of cancer, or is it all cancers that this affects?
Well, there's 13 that are really driven by obesity. Some of the very common ones, like breast cancer, uterine cancer, colon cancer, pancreas cancer, some lymphomas. So across the board,
Okay.
maintaining a healthy diet and getting to a healthy weight can lower the risk for cancer. The thought is that we can decrease our risk of cancer by half with lifestyle, which includes getting a healthy weight, moving your body, not smoking, wearing sunscreen. And it would be my goal that I stop seeing people. Vaccination too. We've seen a big drop in cervical cancer with the HPV vaccine, and it
Wow. See that?
one of those things that, it's a little controversial and not everyone buys into it, but it saves life.
In general, what do you normally recommend women do as far as screening? Because we have so many things we have to screen, and people don't know, well, do you, how often do you have to do this, that type of thing? So where do you fit there?
Right. So for colon cancer screening, the age recommendation is 45. To start with, the screening colonoscopy would be the gold standard. But if you don't do that, do at least a stool test looking for blood. This is the one screening test that can actually prevent a cancer, because if they see a polyp and remove it, that can lower the risk of cancer ever developing. But you don't know if you have a polyp until you go looking for it. So I know it's not the most fun thing, but hey, it's a day or two and you might lose a few pounds in the prep. So, well worth it. And the age of this screening recommendation has gone down. It used to be 50, now it's 45. What we're seeing is cancers are starting at a younger age. And I truly believe it's our food supply and the obesity in this country. Same with breast cancer. When I first started out, it was rare to see breast cancer prior to the age of 50. Now there's a lot of ladies that are sadly seeing
Yes.
us shortly after childbirth in their 30s, 40s. So breast cancer screening, I believe, starts around age 40, mammogram yearly, unless you're told to do it every 2 years. Some people are in different studies where they might. Same with cervical cancer screening, getting a pap smear. And anytime, once you have not had a period and you're in menopause, any postmenopausal bleeding is abnormal, even if it's a spot. If you've not had a period for a year and you're suddenly bleeding, run to your doctor, because that could be an early endometrial cancer and you do not want to ignore that. And that's certainly something that if it's caught early, you could be cured with surgery. And if it's something we ignore, which often is busy women, you're like, oh, it was only a little spotting, it stopped, I'm just not going to go back. Then
Yeah,
they,
I'm busy. I'll do it later. Right?
yes, then it
Oh,
could be a
it's so
much bigger
difficult.
problem. So
Yes,
pay
yes.
attention, ladies.
Absolutely.
If your body's telling you something, don't
So
ignore it.
what's the first step when someone comes to you? Is it because they're at risk for cancer or they already have it? Or is it just people with obesity? How do you start to figure that out?
Right. So I work with a variety of people.
You do.
Really, there's several ways. So as far as someone working with me, number one, they have to have the desire to change. And I think I was stuck in almost not wanting to do that. I was frustrated. I was up and down. For 2 years, I was at my high weight. And I really thought about maybe I'll just embrace this oversized body, buy cute clothes, and the whole body love movement. And I think you could love yourself at any size, but ultimately, I couldn't ignore that this weight was causing inflammation. It was
Mhm.
decreasing my lifespan and would impact my health down the road. So, with that, I embarked on my journey. And I think you meet people where you're at. Some people are ready to change a lot of things all at once. And that's great. They'll get very fast results. But it doesn't matter if you're not ready to do everything. If you do 1 to 5% change and you're consistent over time and you're heading in the right direction and it takes 5 or 10 years, who cares? I think the diet culture's like, you got to do this gimmick that's not sustainable. And I
Yeah.
talked to one of my clients. She was dealing with her mom with dementia. She was a busy nurse. She wanted to lose weight. She had extra weight. And my more intensive programs, oh no, that would just stress me out more. And it's like, okay, let's figure out what you need to do for you. So you can individualize. And part of it was you actually get to take some time for yourself and for
Yeah,
self-care
that's so
and take a
important.
break and go for a walk. And she lost weight just having permission to look after herself. That she, I started shopping and I'm eating a little better because she wasn't cooking at home. Then it's like, well, now what do you think you could do? And you meet people where you're at. And I really believe you start stacking habits that once you get good at one thing, then you can add another thing. And when you see success there, you're like, you know what? I feel this much better. Let me do that. And that's what my coach did for me. It's like,
Mhm.
what's the low hanging fruit and what can you get quick wins with? And do that for a bit. And once that gets good, add something else. And everyone's going to be a bit different. And I honestly think that's the value of a coach. And
Mhm.
personally, I felt a little, what would you say? I wouldn't say resisted, but I almost felt like I don't almost feel that I need a coach because I know all this stuff. But knowing and
Oh
implementing
my
and fixing
gosh.
yourself is a totally different thing. Because when I was being coached, I'm like, I could teach all this stuff, but I wasn't doing it. So
It is,
it's
it's the shoemaker's kid with no shoes, right? And it's not uncommon that you find coaches without a coach. I can't imagine not having had actually a few different coaches throughout my time. One for business, one for personal, one for it's that's what I mean. It's critical if you really want to succeed with any program. You need the guidance. Better together, right? We all do better if we have the teamwork. So that's wonderful, wonderful. So your program, we're gonna talk a little bit about we're talking about your coaching. Now you have a program. Do you do group coaching, or how does that work?
yeah. So I have a group program, and it everyone together kind of goes through a metabolic reset for a short 6 weeks. We take away a lot of the foods that can cause
Oh,
irritation and inflammation in the body. So it's really a gut healing program that often gets amazing results. So for a
mhm,
temporary time, you go off things like gluten, dairy,
mhm,
alcohol, added sugar, and you're eating a very clean, nutrient rich diet of healthy proteins, lots of vegetables, fruit for dessert. But you're off things like bread, rice, pasta, and for a while you're like, what can I eat if that's your
yeah,
main
yeah.
food groups? And
So I
um,
wanted to just pause here and go back to the connection to cancer, obesity and cancer. Have you felt that more people that had obesity, I mean, that more cancer patients had suffered from obesity, or is that just not? Because
yeah,
some people say, well, if I have cancer, I'm a rail, I lose so much weight and all that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, that's what you would think. And honestly, after that lecture on obesity and cancer, I started paying attention to the new um, cancer patients that were coming in, and
Oh,
all of these uterine cancer patients. I just would take a look at their weight and I'm like, BMI 48, which is pretty
wow,
obese.
wow.
The
Yeah.
biggest one I saw, I think, was 61.
Oh,
And
goodness.
they're often young. Some of these people are in their early 30s, 40s with basically a metabolic syndrome, and they're having um, PCOS, just symptoms or infertility, and then they're getting worked up. And it's like, oh, you have atypical cells when they do a PAP, and then it turns out that you have early uterine cancer. And I think that's a great time if they can link these abnormal cells before their cancer to weight, if they can really focus on weight loss. And sometimes that's not mentioned, which I think is tragic because it's a very teachable moment when you could say now's a good reason for me to really focus on what I'm doing. And honestly, it's not hard, but it takes dedication. It's different. And I think knowing you're doing it for a benefit can help. And it's a lifestyle for sure.
Yes, very much so. So I know we're coming to a close soon, but I want to ask you a little bit about the free gift you're going to offer all these viewers.
Yeah, so it's a quick start guide to decrease inflammation easily, and it has 6 steps that I think are, again, simple but not always done. And it's a good reminder to do things like get enough sleep, move your body, drink water. So I hope
Sure.
you find it very helpful. It's um, those simple things that we don't always do. So it's a good reminder. You could pick one, you could do them all, and it will definitely help you get healthier, less inflamed, and with less inflammation, your cells are happier and you lower cancer risk. Weight comes off easily too.
So Mary, how do people get in touch with you? I know your contact is going to be in the notes with the podcast, but what's the best way? Email, phone,
Email's the
go on your
best,
site?
probably.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
phone's fine too. They can certainly just text
And
me. I'm
you have a
very open.
website that we're going to include?
Website, yes,
Okay,
yes,
great,
yeah,
great.
and that's weightlosstowellness.org. So,
Perfect. That's what we
yeah,
want to hear. Well, thank you so much. I so appreciate this wisdom and that brilliant mind of yours to share with this audience today. People are going to really have a good, I mean, just listening to the importance of eating healthy. What an incredible thing to help you not only ward off cancer or maybe heal from cancer or whatever, just be aware that if you don't eat healthy, something's anything can come up. So please listen to Mary. She's amazing. And I thank you for being at this podcast today. Thank you.
thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening and supporting the Professional Women's Wellness Podcast. If you would like to attend training sessions by our amazing podcast guests and have a chance to connect, join the Professional Women's Wellness newsletter. For more details and to sign up, scan the QR code or click the link in the description. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a 5-star rating on Apple Podcast. Each week, we will select a reviewer who will receive free access to my $197 course, Goodbye Night Bites, a 30-day journey to stop emotional eating at night. Please subscribe to get notifications of future episodes.